The most dangerous food for your heart. Worried about your heart health? What if I told you there's a food even worse than sugar for your cardiovascular health? Millions of people gobble it up every day without realizing the devastating impact it has on their arteries and circulatory system. It ramps up bad cholesterol, triggers silent inflammation, strains the heart, and can speed up the onset of heart disease. The scariest part, it might be sitting in your pantry right now. Many think they're making healthy food choices, but in reality they might be consuming this real poison for the heart. It's found in everyday meals, quick snacks, and even foods that seem harmless. You might be putting your health at risk without even realizing it. That's why in this video, I'm revealing 15 foods that wreck your cardiovascular health, but the last one is the worst of them all. So, if you want to know what the most dangerous food for heart is and how to avoid it, watch this video till the end. The truth might surprise you, and it could change your life forever. Discover now the real villain of your cardiovascular health. Feed foods. French fries, chips, fried chicken, and other fried goodies are staples for many, but they can be a disaster for cardiovascular health. When foods are fried in hot oil, they soak up loads of saturated and trans fats, which increase bad cholesterol and decrease good cholesterol. This imbalance promotes the buildup of fatty plaques in arteries, making it harder for blood to circulate and raising the risk of heart attack and stroke. The more fried food a person eats, the bigger the negative impact on heart health. The issue isn't just a fact, but also the chemicals released during the frying process. When vegetable oils are heated to high temperatures, they become unstable and produce toxic compounds that increase inflammation in the body. This silent inflammation damages artery walls and contributes to blood clot formation, which can lead to serious issues like thrombosis and stroke. Frequent consumption of fried foods is a significant risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Besides the direct risks to the heart, fried foods also impact metabolism and promote weight gain. Fried foods generally have high caloric content and low nutrient value, making blood sugar control harder and increasing the risk of insulin resistance. This metabolic effect can lead to the development of type 2 diabetes, which is also linked to a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases. In other words, fried foods don't just affect the heart, but the entire body's balance. The solution for those wanting to dodge these risks doesn't need to be drastic, but it involves smart substitutions. Baking foods instead of frying, using prepared foods without losing flavor. Additionally, choosing more stable oils like extra virgin olive oil can reduce the damage caused by frying. Small changes in the kitchen make all the difference for heart health. The issue with fried foods is that their effect isn't immediate, but accumulative. Occasional consumption might not seem concerning, but over the years, the negative impact becomes evident. That's why the sooner you reduce your intake of fried foods, the lower the risks to your cardiovascular health. Number 14. Ultra-processed cheeses. Ultra-processed cheeses are tasty and versatile, but they can hide traps for heart health. They tend to contain high amounts of sodium and saturated fats, two factors that increase the risk of hypertension and atherosclerosis. Excessive sodium contributes to fluid retention and overloads the circulatory system, raising blood pressure. The saturated fats in these cheeses can raise bad cholesterol levels, promoting the clogging of arteries. For those looking to keep their heart healthy, it's essential to limit consumption of these products. Besides cardiovascular issues, ultra-processed cheeses often contain chemical additives like colorants and stabilizers, which can trigger inflammation in the body. These substances are used to enhance texture and conservation of the product, but their long-term effects can be harmful. Excessive consumption of these cheeses can increase the risk of chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, and heart problems. It's important to pay attention to labels and avoid products with excessive artificial ingredients. Healthier alternatives include less processed cheeses such as cottage cheese, ricotta, and fresh minus cheese, which have lower sodium and bad fat content. Moreover, it's always good to balance dairy consumption with a diet rich in vegetables and natural foods. The less processed the cheese, the lesser the negative impact on cardiovascular health. Ultra-processed cheeses are just one of many foods that can harm a heart, but there are still items on our list that are even worse. The worst of all is yet to come. Number 13. Ultra-processed fast food. Burgers, fries, nuggets, and other fast food items are highly addictive, but hide a series of risks for cardiovascular health. They are loaded with sodium, saturated, and trans fats. in addition to chemical additives that make these foods true bombs for the heart. The high fat content in these products contributes to increased bad cholesterol, promoting the buildup of plaques in the arteries and hindering blood circulation. Additionally, the presence of trans fats in fast foods worsens the scenario, as this type of fat is known to be one of the main villains of cardiovascular health. Another serious issue with fast foods is their excessive amount of sodium. This mineral, when consumed in excess, causes fluid retention and increases blood pressure, overloading the heart and blood vessels. This results in an elevated risk of hypertension, which in turn can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Many fast food chains use absurd amounts of salt to enhance the flavor of foods and ensure their conservation, making the consumption of these products even more dangerous. The big problem is that many people don't realize the immediate impact as the damages accumulate over the years. Besides fat and sodium, fast foods are highly processed and filled with chemical additives, preservatives, stabilizers, colorants, and flavor enhancers are added to increase the durability of products and improve their texture and palatability. However, these substances can have inflammatory effects on the body, contributing to the development of cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. Chronic inflammation is one of the main causes of heart problems as it weakens the arteries and favors the formation of fatty plaques. Frequent consumption of fast food also leads to weight gain and increased insulin resistance to factors that significantly raise the risk of heart diseases. The excessive calories and refined carbohydrates in these foods causes blood sugar spikes, which in the long term can result in type 2 diabetes. People with diabetes have a much higher risk of developing cardiovascular diseases, making fast food a true enemy of longevity and well-being. For those who don't want to completely give up this type of food, a solution is to opt for homemade and healthier versions. Preparing burgers with lean meats and natural seasonings, baking potatoes, instead of frying and replacing industrial sauces with homemade options, are some ways to reduce the damages. Moreover, decreasing the frequency of fast food consumption and prioritizing meals rich in vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats can make a significant difference in heart health. Number 12. Bacon. Bacon is one of the tastiest and most appreciated foods in various cuisines, but it is also one of the most harmful to cardiovascular health. Rich in saturated fats and sodium, it can significantly raise bad cholesterol levels, promoting the buildup of plaques in the arteries and increasing the risk of heart diseases. Frequent consumption of bacon is associated with a significant increase in the risk of hypertension, atherosclerosis, and even heart failure. Its negative impact on the heart is devastating, especially when consumed in large amounts over lifetime. Besides saturated fat, bacon contains nitrites and nitrates, chemical substances used for its conservation and flavor enhancement. These substances, when consumed in excess, can transform into toxic compounds in the body, promoting artery inflammation and increasing the risk of cardiovascular problems. Many studies have shown that processed meats, including bacon, are among the main foods linked to the development of heart diseases. Another worrying factor is the way bacon is prepared. Generally fried, it absorbs even more fat during the cooking process, becoming even more harmful to health. When the oils used in preparation reach high temperatures, they release toxic substances that can contribute to inflammation in the body. The continuous consumption of fried bacon can be even more harmful than many imagine, becoming a significant silent risk for the heart. Moreover, bacon is a highly caloric food, promoting weight gain and accumulation of visceral fat. This type of fat located around the organs is one of the main risk factors for cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. The excess weight overloads the heart, making its function more difficult and increasing the likelihood of developing serious issues like heart failure and high blood pressure. If you're a fan of bacon, you can try reducing its consumption or look for
healthier alternatives.
Swapping traditional bacon for lean meat versions or protein sources with lower fat content, such as chicken breast and fish, can be an excellent choice to keep your heart health in check. Moreover, using natural seasonings to flavor foods can help decrease the need for highly processed and high-sodium foods. Bacon is a significant villain of cardiovascular health, but it is not alone. At the end of this video, you'll discover the worst food of all for your heart. Number 11. Butter. Butter is an ingredient present in many people's diets, used for cooking, spreading on bread, and flavoring various dishes. However, its high content of saturated fats can be extremely harmful to cardiovascular health. Excessive consumption of butter contributes to the increase of bad cholesterol, facilitating the buildup of fatty plaques and hindering blood circulation. This effect can lead to the development of diseases such as atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. Besides saturated fats, butter also contains dietary cholesterol, which can raise cholesterol levels in the blood, especially in people predisposed to cardiovascular problems. The excess cholesterol can make arteries more rigid and inflamed, making it difficult for the heart to pump blood. Although the body needs a certain amount of factor for heart diseases. Another problem with butter is its nutritional composition, poor in essential nutrients for heart health. While foods like olive oil and avocado offer healthy fats and antioxidant compounds, butter is practically composed only of saturated fats without offering additional benefits. This makes its consumption unnecessary for those who wish to maintain a healthy heart and balanced blood circulation. A healthier alternative is to replace butter with better quality fats. Extra virgin olive oil, for example, is an option rich in antioxidants and monounsaturated fats, which help reduce inflammation and protect the heart. Other alternatives include coconut oil, which can be used in small amounts, and natural nut tastes like cashew and almond. Number 10. Fatty meats. Many people love a well-served barbecue with juicy and fatty cuts like picanha, ribs, and brisket. However, the frequent consumption of these meats can be extremely harmful to cardiovascular health. This is because these meats are rich in saturated fat, one of the main responsible for the increase of bad cholesterol in the blood. High LDL levels favor the formation of fatty plaques in arteries, a process known as atherosclerosis. Over time, these plaques can harden blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow and increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Besides the direct impact on cholesterol, fatty meats also promote inflammatory processes in the body. Scientific studies show that diets rich in saturated fat promote chronic inflammation, one of the main triggers for cardiovascular diseases. Persistent inflammation harms the endothelium, which is the inner lining of arteries, making them more prone to injuries and fat accumulation. This effect is even more severe in people who already have a genetic predisposition to heart problems. Another concerning factor is the method of preparing these meats. Roasted on grills or fried at high temperatures, these meats can release toxic compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are formed when fat comes into direct contact with fire. These compounds not only increase the risk of cancer but also contribute to arterial inflammation and premature aging of cardiovascular cells. The more burnt the piece of meat, the higher the concentration of these harmful substances. If you're a meat lover, the best way to reduce the damages is to opt for lean cuts and healthier cooking methods. Skinless chicken breast, grilled fish, and lean beef cuts, like tenderloin and top round, are better options for cardiovascular health. Moreover, balancing the meal with vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, like olive oil and avocado, can help neutralize the negative effects of saturated fats. Although fatty meats are one of the big villains of cardiovascular health, they are not the worst food for the heart. There is still a food even more destructive to your arteries, which will be revealed at the end of this video. Number 9. Hydrogenated margarine. For a long time, margarine was sold as a healthier alternative to butter, but the truth is that its impact on cardiovascular health can be even worse. This is because many margarines contain trans fats, one of the most dangerous types of fat for the heart. Trans fats are artificially created during the hydrogenation process, which transforms liquid vegetable oils into solid fats to give more texture and durability to the product. The problem is that this chemical modification makes trans fats highly inflammatory and harmful to the circulatory system. The consumption of trans fats is directly linked to the increase of bad cholesterol and the reduction of good cholesterol. This imbalance favors the formation of fatty plaques and arteries, significantly increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. Additionally, these artificial fats promote systemic inflammation in the body, making blood vessels more rigid and prone to damage. Many countries have already banned trans fats from food products due to their devastating effects, but unfortunately, they can still be found in some margarines and processed products. Another big problem with margarine is the presence of refined vegetable oils, which when heated can become unstable and form toxic compounds. These oxidized oils contribute to the premature aging of cells and increase chronic inflammation in the body. Moreover, industrialized margarines usually contain chemical additives like colorants, preservatives, and emulsifiers, which can cause adverse reactions in the body. In the long run, these compounds can compromise cardiovascular health and increase the risk of metabolic diseases. The best alternative for those wishing to avoid the risks of regenerated margarine is to opt for natural sources of healthy fat. Extra virgin olive oil, for example, is an excellent choice, as it contains antioxidants and monounsaturated fats that protect the heart. Other options include avocado oil and ghee butter, which are more natural and less processed alternatives. Number 8. Industrialized pizza. Pizza is one of the most popular dishes worldwide, but its industrialized version can be a real poison for heart health. This is because most frozen and fast food pizzas contain alarming amounts of sodium, saturated fats, and trans fats. The high sodium content of these pizzas can quickly raise blood pressure, overloading the heart and blood vessels. The bad fats present in the dough and ultra-processed cheeses contribute to the increase of LDL cholesterol, favoring the clogging of arteries. Another serious issue within industrialized pizzas is the quality of ingredients used. The dough, for example, is usually made with refined flour, which has a high glycemic index and can cause blood sugar spikes. These constant spikes overload the pancreas and promote the development of insulin resistance, a condition that increases the risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. Moreover, the sauces and toppings of these pizzas often contain hidden sugar, flavor enhancers, and chemical additives which can further aggravate metabolic problems. Pizzas also contain large amounts of refined vegetable oils, which are used to crunchiness to the dough and enhance flavor. These oils, when subjected to high temperatures, undergo oxidation and generate inflammatory compounds, which can harm artery health. Moreover, many processed cheeses used in industrialized pizzas contain trans fats, which are extremely harmful to the heart. Frequent consumption of this type of cheese can accelerate the development of cardiovascular diseases and increase inflammation levels in the body. For those who don't want to give up pizza, a healthier option is to prepare it at home using natural and less processed ingredients, opting for whole grain doughs, better quality cheeses, and vegetable-based toppings can significantly reduce health risks to the cardiovascular system. Moreover, replacing processed meats and sauces with fresh ingredients and natural seasonings can make pizza much more nutritious and balanced. Number 7. Industrialized salted peanuts. Peanuts are a popular food, consumed as a snack or ingredient in various recipes. However, their industrialized and salted version can be a real enemy for heart health. The problem is not the peanut itself, but the excess of sodium and refined oils added during processing. The high sodium content in industrialized peanuts can lead to increased blood pressure, one of the main risk factors for cardiovascular diseases. When consumed frequently, this food contributes to fluid retention and overloads the heart. Besides sodium, many industrialized versions of peanuts contain hydrogenated fats, used to give crunchiness and extend the product's durability. These fats are highly harmful to cardiovascular health, as they increase bad cholesterol and reduce good cholesterol, creating a conducive environment for the development of atherosclerosis. Regular consumption of these artificial fats can result in artery clogging, dramatically increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. Another worrying factor is the presence of chemical additives and preservatives, which are added to maintain the texture and flavor of peanuts for longer. These substances can have inflammatory effects on the body, promoting cellular damage and increasing the risks of chronic diseases. Studies show that chronic inflammation in the body is directly linked to the development of heart diseases, making ultra-processed foods like industrialized, salted peanuts a silent threat to heart health. Natural peanuts without salt and additives can be a much healthier alternative, rich in good fats like monounsaturated fats. They can even contribute to cardiovascular protection when consumed in moderation. Opting for versions without added oil is the best way to enjoy their benefits without harming your health. Moreover, mixing peanuts with other healthy foods like nuts, walnuts, almonds can make consumption even more nutritious and balanced. If you like crunchy snacks, a better option is to prepare homemade versions, baked and seasoned with natural herbs, avoiding excess sodium and bad fats. The key is always to be aware of labels and avoid industrialized products that contain harmful ingredients. Industrialized salted peanuts are dangerous, but there are still foods much worse for the heart. The worst is yet to come. Number 5. Fried eggs in vegetable oil. Eggs are considered one of the most complete and nutritious foods that exist. They are rich in proteins, vitamins, and essential minerals for the body's functioning. However, the way eggs are prepared can transform this superfood into a threat to cardiovascular health. When fried in refined vegetable oils, eggs can become a risk factor for increasing bad cholesterol and artery inflammation. The problem starts with refined vegetable oils like soy, canola, and corn oil, which are commonly used to fry foods. When these oils are heated to high temperatures, they undergo a process of oxidation, forming inflammatory compounds that can harm cardiovascular health. These substances, known as toxic aldehyde, promote cellular damage and accelerate the aging of arteries, increasing the risk of atherosclerosis and heart diseases. Moreover, fried eggs absorb large amounts of fat during the frying process, making the meal much more caloric and harmful for those who already have high cholesterol problems. The excess of saturated fats and oxidized oils can raise cholesterol levels, favoring the buildup of fatty plaques in arteries. If consumption is frequent, the damages can be cumulative, resulting in long-term cardiac complications. A healthier alternative is to prepare eggs boiled, poached, or scrambled with extra virgin olive oil. These methods significantly reduce the amount of added fat and preserve the nutrients in eggs, making the meal much more beneficial for the heart. Another option is to use non-stick pans, which allow preparing eggs without the need for oil, further reducing the risk of negative impact on cardiovascular health. Balanced consumption of eggs can bring many benefits, but the way they are prepared makes all the difference. By avoiding frying in refined vegetable oils, you reduce your exposure to toxic substances and protect your blood circulation. Number 5. Chicken with skin. Chicken is one of the most consumed proteins worldwide, and when prepared correctly, it can be an excellent source of nutrients for health. However, when consumed with skin, chicken can become a problem for the heart. Chicken skin is extremely rich in saturated fats, which increase bad cholesterol and favor the formation of fatty plaques in arteries. This buildup can lead to artery hardening, reducing blood flow, and increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Another problem with consuming chicken skin is the way it is prepared. Often, the skin is fried or roasted until crispy, intensifying the amount of harmful fats in the meal. Moreover, when subjected to high temperatures, the fat from chicken skin releases inflammatory substances that can cause damage to the body cells. Excessive consumption of these substances can accelerate the process of artery aging and increase the risk of hypertension. Besides saturated fats, chicken skin can also contain residues of antibiotics and hormones used in industrial breeding of birds. These compounds can interfere with the body's hormonal balance and contribute to chronic inflammation, which are associated with cardiovascular diseases. For those with a genetic predisposition to heart problems, avoiding chicken skin can be an important strategy to reduce risks. The best way to consume chicken healthily is to opt for lean cuts and remove the skin before cooking. Roasting, grilling, or cooking chicken without skin significantly reduces the amount of saturated fat in the meal, making it safer for the heart. Moreover, seasoning with natural herbs, garlic, and lemon can enhance the nutritional benefits of the dish without the need for using bad fats in preparation. If you seek a healthier diet, reducing the consumption of chicken with skin can be a simple but essential step for cardiovascular protection. Small choices make a big difference in heart health, and replacing skin with foods richer in good fats like olive oil and avocado can be an effective path to maintain balanced blood circulation. Chicken skin is a problem for heart health, but there are still foods that are much more dangerous. Number 4. Refined vegetable oils. Refined vegetable oils, like those from soy, canola, corn, and sunflower, are widely used in modern cooking, but they can be highly harmful to heart health. Although they are often promoted as healthy alternatives, these oils undergo aggressive industrial processes that alter their chemical composition and make them unstable when heated. When subjected to high temperatures, they produce toxic compounds called aldehydes, which increase inflammation in the body and accelerate the aging of arteries. Moreover, these oils are rich in omega-6 fatty acids, which, although essential to the body and harmful when consumed in excess, The imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 promotes chronic inflammation, favoring the development of cardiovascular diseases. Studies show that diets rich in omega-6 are directly linked to increased risks of hypertension, atherosclerosis, and heart attacks. Another problem with refined vegetable oils is their high level of oxidation. During the extraction and refining process, they are exposed to intense heat, chemicals, and solvents, which destroy their natural antioxidants and create free radicals. These free radicals are highly reactive and can damage the body cells, accelerating the development of chronic diseases, including cardiovascular diseases. This means that by regularly consuming these oils, you're ingesting substances that favor the buildup of fatty plaques in arteries. Many processed foods like chips, filled cookies, ready-made sauces, and fried foods contain high amounts of these oils. As a result, even if you don't use them directly for cooking, you might be consuming a large amount of them without realizing it. To reduce the damages, the ideal is to replace them with more stable and natural oils like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and cold-pressed coconut oil, which have better nutritional profiles and natural antioxidants. If you cook with refined vegetable oils regularly, consider making a gradual transition to healthier options. Small changes can have a big impact on long-term cardiovascular health. The heart is a sensitive organ to the quality of fats we ingest, and opting for more natural sources can help preserve its function and reduce the risks of heart diseases. Number 3. Sugar-free peanut butter. Peanut butter is often considered a healthy alternative for snacks and diets, but its industrialized version can hide dangers that compromise heart health. Many people believe that because it does not contain sugar, this butter is a safe option, but the problem lies in the oils added to give creaminess to the product. Most commercial brands use hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, which contain trans fats, one of the biggest enemies of cardiovascular health. Trans fats present in many industrialized peanut butter contribute to the increase of bad cholesterol and reduce good cholesterol, a factor that accelerates the formation of fatty plaques in arteries. Moreover, these fats are highly inflammatory and can interfere with endothelial function, which regulates the dilation of blood vessels. This means that frequent consumption of these butters can lead to a higher risk of hypertension, atherosclerosis, and even heart failure. Another problem with industrialized butters is the presence of emulsifiers and artificial stabilizers. These substances help maintain the texture of the product, but can negatively alter the intestinal microbiota and increase inflammatory processes in the body. As chronic inflammation is one of the main factors that trigger cardiovascular diseases, frequent consumption of these products can be more harmful than it seems. If you like peanut butter, the best option is to choose 100% natural versions, which contain only peanuts and at most a small amount of sea salt. Another alternative is to prepare your own peanut butter at home, ensuring that it is free of hydrogenated oils and artificial preservatives. This way, you can enjoy the nutritional benefits of peanuts, like their monounsaturated fats and proteins, without the negative effects of industrial additives. Peanut butter can be a nutritious option if consumed correctly, but its industrialized version is a silent risk for the heart. Opting for more natural ingredients and avoiding ultra-processed products can be the key to maintaining cardiovascular health in check. Small changes in dietary habits can make a big difference in disease prevention. Industrialized peanut butter is not the worst villain for the heart, but there is still a much worse food which will be revealed shortly. Number 2. Industrialized meat broth. Industrialized meat or chicken broth is one of the most used products in the kitchen to flavor soups, rice, sauces, and various recipes. However, this convenience comes at a high cost for heart health. These broths are extremely rich in sodium, containing alarming amounts that can quickly raise blood pressure. Excessive sodium causes the body to retain fluids, overloading the heart and increasing the risk of hypertension, heart failure, and strokes. Besides sodium, industrialized broths contain flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate or MSG, which can have adverse effects on cardiovascular health. MSG is associated with metabolic changes and can trigger inflammatory processes in the body, increasing the risk of chronic diseases. Some people also report symptoms like palpitations and high blood pressure soon after consuming foods rich in monosodium glutamate. Another problem with these broths broths is the preservatives and chemical additives used to prolong their shelf life. Many of these compounds can negatively impact the intestinal microbiota and contribute to the increase of systemic inflammation in the body. As chronic inflammation is a determining factor for the development of cardiovascular diseases, frequent consumption of these products can have cumulative effects over time. Fortunately, there are natural alternatives to replace industrialized broths. Preparing homemade broths with bones, vegetables, and natural herbs is a much healthier way to flavor foods without the risks of excess sodium and artificial additives. Another option is to use natural seasonings like garlic, onion, turmeric, and pepper, which besides enhancing flavor, have beneficial properties for the heart. If you frequently use industrialized broths, consider gradually eliminating them from your diet. Reducing sodium intake and chemical additives can improve your cardiovascular health and prevent future problems. Health eating is not just about what we eat, but also about the quality of ingredients we choose to prepare our meals. And now, let's go to the worst food in the video. Number 1. Sugar-free microwave popcorn. Popcorn is often considered a healthy snack, but its industrialized version, especially microwave popcorn, can be extremely harmful to heart health. The problem is not the corn itself, but the ingredients added to preserve and enhance the flavor of the product. Many brands use hydrogenated fats and refined oils in the composition of microwave popcorn, making this food a real bomb of trans fats. Trans fats are one of the worst types of fat for the heart, as they increase bad cholesterol and reduce good cholesterol. This imbalance favors the buildup of fatty plaques in arteries, hindering blood circulation and increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Regular consumption of these fats can lead to severe complications like atherosclerosis, hypertension, and heart failure. Another concerning factor in microwave popcorn is the amount of sodium present in artificial seasonings. Although some versions are sold as sugar-free, they often contain high levels of salt, flavor enhancers, and preservatives. Excessive sodium can cause fluid retention and increase blood pressure, overloading the heart. For those with a tendency to cardiovascular problems, frequent consumption of this food can be a silent risk. Besides fats and sodium, there is an invisible danger in microwave popcorn bags: the chemicals used in the inner lining of the bag. Many of these packages contain substances like perfluorooctanoic acid, a toxic compound associated with hormonal disorders and chronic inflammation. These substances can be released when heated and accumulate in the body over time, contributing to the development of cardiovascular diseases and even cancer. If you like popcorn, the best alternative is to prepare it the traditional way, using natural corn and a bit of olive oil or coconut oil. This homemade version eliminates the risks associated with chemical additives and trans fats, making the snacks safer for the heart. For those wishing to further reduce salt intake, herbs and natural seasonings can be excellent substitutes to enhance the flavor of popcorn without harming health. If you want to continue receiving the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel, because it exists for one reason: to make you a healthier person with more quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video now appearing on your screen, I reveal the 6 powerful fruits that cancer fears. Click on the screen and check it out. So see you in the next video.